Louie Gohmert gave a speech at the Faith and Freedom Coalition, and he went off on transgender people.
Changed this mental disorder of transgender to the term transgender dysphoria. And Dr. McHugh said on the radio with me, he said, that dysphoria may be more descriptive than disorder because dysphoria, you know what euphoria is. This is an antonym, and it means that you have a general feeling of dissatisfaction with something. In this case, being with your female or masculine gender. It's a generalized sense of dissatisfaction. And for that, you want to cut off organs and destroy people's lives. And now this administration says, we're going to have the VA do sex change operations. Really? Do we not have enough veterans committing suicide without you increasing that 20 times? Enough is enough. And we have to stand up for our veterans. We're the adults.
This is one of those arguments that always got under my skin when it comes to trans people, because they flipped it on its head. So he's referring to a high suicide rate among the trans community, and he's using that as evidence as to why that's not the right way to go if you are trans. So he's like, don't transition because, you know, the suicide rate is higher, so you got to like deal with what you are even though you don't want to. But the response to that is, hey, Louie, here's a counter theory. Perhaps the suicide rate among trans people is so high because of pricks like you. No, and I mean that too. I'm not just saying that. So you have this overwhelming sense in society, definitely among conservatives and religious folks, where they look down on it and they think it's super weird, and they do think it's a mental illness. And they judge the fuck out of these people. So as a result of that, when you feel that burden and that weight of society that's just judging you constantly, endlessly, and tells you you're no good, and that has an effect on people, man. That has an effect on people. We're social animals. So when you feel this, wrath of society and idiots like Louie Gohmert who question your identity on a daily basis, yeah, that's going to drive many people to depression. That's going to drive many people, unfortunately, to suicide. They're in a world that doesn't like them and doesn't accept them for who they are. And he also is just totally unaware of people who are transgender, who end up taking the hormones, who end up, getting surgery, and then they actually have a good surrounding where people are very supportive, and then you know what they say? Hey, it went great. I'm fucking happy now. There are some people who say, fucking Caitlyn Jenner, who I have massive issues with, so that's a separate conversation for a separate day, but she says, hey, when I first got that injection of estrogen or whatever it was, she was like, oh, no, that was it. I was done. I was like, this is how I wanted to feel my whole life, and now I feel this way. So who the fuck is Louie Gohmert to say, no, I disagree. I don't give a fuck if you disagree. How about that? So, and guys, I've gotten messages from trans people who listen to the show where they say, hey, thanks for speaking up for us. We really appreciate it. You're saying things that really are true and are describing what we feel and what we go through and whatnot. And it's not like I wasn't born knowing all this. It took me a while to learn about it. I shut the fuck up and I listened when people spoke, and I went, oh, okay, that's interesting. So the way I would describe it is, imagine you're somebody. So I'm a straight male who identifies as a male. If I was forced every day to get up and put on a dress and put on a wig and put on lipstick and just look as female as possible, I would be fucking miserable. Because that's not who the fuck I am. Why am I dressed like this? I'm not this person. This is insane. I want to take it off. I fucking hate it. I'd be depressed. After a few days, I'd be like, that's it. I can't take it. Because you're not living as who you are. So just imagine, that's exactly what these people go through. You're born biologically male, but you're female. Your brain, everything about you go, I know I'm a female. So when you actually start acting in accordance with that, you go, oh, I'm much happier. So that's what happens. That's what these people go through. And some people have told me, like, no, seriously, I was contemplating suicide, and then I got the hormones, and I started transitioning, and I identified with what I know my gender is, and then I was better. So for Louie Gohmert to go out there and just judge, and act like he has all the answers and he knows that it's wrong to transition, he's got no clue what the fuck he's talking about. And we all know where it's coming from, too. It's coming from his fundamentalist religiosity. That's where it's coming from. It's coming from, the Bible and God don't want to do that. Yeah, take your religion and shove it up your ass. I have no interest in you dictating to other people how to live because you believe in Harry Potter and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So, call me crazy, but I don't think people should take medical advice from Louie Gohmert.